Welcome back to the Matrix. Nah, bad intro. Let's go again. Welcome back to the Matrix, the library of lore, canonical inconsistencies, and cosmic horrors. Yeah, we do all three now. The one thing I have to state that we do not deal in is fan theories. Which is why today we start off on a bit of a rocky one. I'm sure that many of us before have heard of Season 6B. For the uninitiated, this theory posits that the Doctor, upon his trial in the War Games, was then recruited by the CIA and went on many more missions for the Time Lords, becoming an unofficial agent. Making a giant time skip from here, oh crumbs, to here. Monday's got me like, I'm so very sleepy. Sounds like a little bit of a stretch when you put it like that, but what elevated this form of fan theory to an officially recognised tangent was one Terrence Dicks. Honestly, Uncle Terry, once he left the program, I feel like his job in the franchise was just to create whatever he wanted. Jump it right off the deep end. But the idea didn't start with him. It was originally an invention from the Discontinuity Guide, written by Paul Cornell, Martin Day, and Keith Topping. Personally, I can understand wanting more Charlton in your life, but this does feel like an excuse, a massive cannon plaster, maybe the cannon plaster, to explain away a couple canonical discrepancies. Why does the second Doctor look old? How does he have a remote control, and why doesn't the sixth Doctor remember having one? How can this scene exist?
When you were returned to your own people, the Time Lords erased your memory of the period you spent with me. So how do you know who we are? Answer!
Their trial happened on his final day. Unless, of course, it wasn't this Doctor's final day.
It's a matter of memory.
It would certainly explain the grey hair and the massive jump in the Doctor's age, but these are like issues of continuity. It never struck me as the most organic place to situate a whole new era of the Doctor's timeline. I'm keeping my eyes on you, Chris. Don't get any funny ideas. But the writers took to it and situated their stories in this space of time, with it even having a now archived page on the BBC's official classic series website. Now I'm not here to debate its validity, that sounds very off-brand for me, and I'm not here to tell you things you already probably know. I just want to stress how much of it there is. Over 75 stories exist in this space of time. No wonder he's gone grey. The second Doctor has more to do post his death than he did during his actual on-screen tenure. Let's explore this timeline. What was he getting up to for 300 years? Well, Terrence Dicks' World Game begins this arc. His exile put on hold, new toys, a companion he doesn't like, and a new TARDIS, which, yeah, you know this guy's on trial for stealing a TARDIS, right? Hang on, that means Season 6B begins with the Doctor saying goodbye to his friends and losing time travel, but then immediately getting his time travel privileges restored, and then immediately going to check up on them anyway. That's, clunky. It's not said nearly enough how dramatic continuity changes just make the past feel awkward. He is of course monitored in this time, but the Time Lord whose job it is to oversee him immediately gets bored and lets him do whatever he wants. Hence, 75 new stories. The Doctor Who Classic Comics issues 3 to 26 have him travelling with his grandchildren John and Gillian. I think we've covered them before. My brain be hazy. Most of these stories involve them battling quarks, shooting monsters dead with guns, and the Doctor being praised as a national hero. Season 6B includes
Helicon Prime, Wolf Beyond, The Time They Destroyed the World Whilst Looking for a Dress, Month's Little Helper, Scientific Advisor, Reunion, Dust, The Steward's Story, Golem, Blue Road Dance, Extortions, The Troilus Ambush, Doctor Strikes Back, The Zombies, Master of Spider, Exterminator, Barnabas, Jungle Adventure, Attack of Dark, Survivor Trials, Monster from the Path, Task Worship, Space War 2, Egyptian Escapade, Coming of the Cybermen, The Fatal Rocket Pack, Flower Power, The Witches, Cybermore, Scientific Gorilla, Cyber Empire, The Dyrons, Return of the Witches, Masquerade Doctor and the Space Pirates, Car of the Century, The Jokers, The Time Museum, The Electrodes, Invasion of the Quarks, The Killer Wasps, Ice-Cape Terror, Jungle Doom, Father Time, Martha the Mechanical Housemaid, Operation Wurlitzer, The Man Who Nearly Killed Christmas, Action in Exile, The Mark of Terror, Brotherhood UFO, and The Nightwalkers.
There's a lot of Season 6B! It's a mix of short stories, novels, comics, and audios, as well as the 2 Doctors and the 5 Doctors. In the 2 Doctors, the Doctor and Jamie say they're on a mission from the Time Lords, with their shiny new remote control. Don't expect Big Finish to be helping you out on this though. They've got 2 different accounts, 2 contradictory reasons why the second Doctor was in the 6th Doctor's era. Like I said, this era, it's tricky. There's no beginning or ending, and we've got scraps to work with. The short story Mother's Little Helper, for instance, goes out of its way to mention that 2 is a grey-haired old man. The short story The Time Eater also wants to exist in this gap, as Jamie asks about the new remote control, implying he's never seen it before. And even the classic comics, oh, you thought you could discount John and Gillian? Well, no, because TV comic issue 872 reintroduces Jamie McCrimmon. Why would you have to reintroduce a companion during their own tenure? Unless... During this time, they shoot a lot of quarks. They encounter the future incarnation of the Doctor, Father Time. If you want to learn about him, check out this one. And the Doctor becomes a famous TV personality, a celebrity even. And in Martha the Mechanical Housemaid, he's running for leader of the whole planet. This time, they want to elect him president. Sorry, the position's taken. And here's where we get to the really weird bit. Ever before Season 6B was ever a thing, the second Doctor already had a different regeneration scene. If we follow this source, his true final story is the Nightwalkers. Issue 936 ends his comic run very abruptly with Scarecrow servants of the Time Lords dragging him into the TARDIS and then presumably murder him, as regeneration lights flicker out of the TARDIS windows. Step forward, Doctor Who. The Time Lords. I knew they'd catch up with me. They exiled me to Earth, but I escaped before they could change my appearance. So... that exists, and you can read it and all of the comics on the Who Picks website. He'll just love me recommending people to his blogs. Goes down a treat. This idea then went cold for a whole decade. Nobody addressed it until the Target storybook just last year brought it back up. In Save Yourself, the second Doctor is explicitly on a mission for the CIA in return for his freedom. It's revealed that he'd been on many of these missions before and had gotten his memories wiped every single time. Rings a bell. I just find it funny how the makeup department's passing decision to not get Troughton to dye his hair has resulted in a whole other branch of Doctor Who media. And I laugh and I disparage it, but this is a fan observation, a fan theory, which has then been applied to some creative endeavours. They've turned that into good stories. And boom, that's all Doctor Who is. Fact number 2. Terrance Dicks's World Game was also the first classic series piece of media to utilise the psychic paper. First seen in the revival, Terrance Dicks decided this was a Time Lord invention. And yeah, that wouldn't be the first thing they've plagiarised, but we've also seen it in the hands of the Time Agency, Weeping Angels, and Psychic Paper Incorporated, which, for the record, is a place that people work. Ood, Sensorites, Pyroviles, and of course, the 10th Doctor. This Titan Comics backup story tells us that the Doctor works here part-time as their chief technician. Wow, that sounds like a really demanding role. Could someone phone upstairs? Oh no, he's gone off back to Skaro. But according to this short story, he's practically on call. Saving the universe, that's kind of a side hustle. As when the company received a complaint from Gom the Mentor, head office sent the 10th Doctor over to resolve the issue. It seems that the coordinates were too good though, as the TARDIS arrived and instantly crushed him. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And that's the story. Won't be speaking to the manager now, will ya? Apparently, the Doctor hands out his CV to everyone. He's worked in a toy shop in Colchester, a university lecturer in Bristol, a box packer in Kablam. All of these are official positions. I don't remember them ever resigning. In the comics, the Doctor buys 51% of the shares of Surview Incorporated so he doesn't have to fight them anymore, but then finds himself a villain in the role of chief executive. He was a cover teacher in School Reunion, preserved the Brixatiel collection, became a scientific advisor for UNIT in the invasion, became part of a film crew covering up the events of the invasion. As we all remember fondly, the Doctor was originally an operative for the Division, and ultimately the Doctor will settle down in the National Gallery as curator. And there's definitely more that I've forgotten. But goddamn, this guy holds down a job about as long as I do. I bet the Doctor doesn't have to worry about cover letters. Fact number 3. Oh, what's that? You didn't enjoy the Doctor's new regeneration scene where the Time Lords took him out back? Well, you're in luck, because the third Doctor also has 2 different regeneration scenes. Oh, there is fuckery afoot here. Like, I'm not even a fan of Planet of the Spiders, but I would not touch it to this degree. The third Doctor's radiation poisoning from prolonged exposure to Metebelis crystals apparently just wasn't enough. In Love and War, the Third Doctor apparently drifted through time for 10 years dying of the radiation before he returned to Earth. There's a different short story where the Doctor potters out of the box and solves a mystery mid-death. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, old chap. I'll just go and die somewhere else. Gets back in the box and goes back to the Brigadier and Sarah to die, like he just got the wrong coordinates. How awkward. But during the death in heaven, Lawrence Miles decided, no, I'm going to kill the Third Doctor as well. History was altered, so the Third Doctor instead died from a fatal shot to the chest from Magdalena Bishop. The bullet entered his ribcage at an angle which didn't damage any major organs. He died instead of blood loss. Thanks, Lawrence. I just love the little touches like that. What was wrong with the spiders? The poison spiders! I guess dying from radiation poisoning is too cool now. Everyone's doing it. Radiation poisoning has killed more Time Lords than Daleks. Anyway, Sarah drags his bloodied corpse back to the TARDIS. Why did they do this? Well, the Third Doctor accidentally came across the Eighth Doctor being tortured by the faction, Paradox, and quickly told his past self who they were and what was going on, even though he wouldn't meet them until his next incarnation. That's cheating. So they shoot him in the chest. Beloved fan favourite character. A recently deceased actor. It's fucking weird, man. This somehow triggers a series of events where the faction get their own Doctor and the Eighth Doctor loses his shadow. The dust goes to the original Third Doctor retained a degree of control over the TARDIS's defences. Over his 5 millennia in the ship, he trained the spiders to be his scouts and lookouts. No, that's it. I'm not going to spoil any more of this for myself. I'm not diving any deeper into this madhouse for today. So hey, if you enjoyed this and everything else I've been doing during lockdown, please feel free to have a little potter over to my Ko-fi page. Maybe even make a tip. There's going to be loads of bonus content on there. There's early uploads and sneak peeks at coming videos. Like everyone, COVID kind of knocked me on my ass employment-wise, so let's see if we can make this a full-time thing. Next time, the continuity war with Faction Paradox truly begins.